Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich. Now, last time we played Kaiserreich together, we hopped into the nation of Poland, led by a monarchy which the people did not want. We managed to kick it out, break our chains, first through democratic means and then through syndicalist means. And we fought until we got crushed, not by the boot of the Kaiser, but by the boot of the Kaiserreich devs, because they uploaded a patch while I was gone on vacation at Fry That Save. So I couldn't end up loading it. And I didn't get anyone saying that they wanted me to go back and continue the Poland campaign. Although if I get enough demand, I might go ahead and do that just in case. But I figure it was about time, anyway, to hop into a new country and have some fun. So, we're going to be playing in China finally. We're starting off with the Qing Empire, which enters 1936 on the brink. Restored in exchange for German support during the Fourth Zhili War in 1927, the Zhuangtong Emperor remains deeply unpopular and is viewed by many as illegitimate. The Zhili Clique, who trounced both the Fengtian clique and the KMT, stand as the victors of the chaos that engulfed China for nearly 2 decades. But their hold on the country is far from secure. Enemies from without and within threaten their hegemony, and it can remain to be seen just how long their grasp on power can last. Well, let's go ahead and launch her up. Taking a nice swig of water. You gotta stay hydrated. That's my motto. You gotta stay hydrated. So here we go, launching into the Qing government. We're gonna take a quick look at our political situation, and by quick, I mean it's probably gonna take up half of this video in usual Mr. Dogboat 333 fashion. We'll shoot for 22 minutes. And yeah. Hope you all are doing well as we wait for this game to load. Yeah. Life is, it keeps on keeping on. Unlike, well, I was gonna say that about load bar, but it just loaded now. So, there we go. 0.4.2. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Oh, here we go. The internationally mediated and last Zhili War in 1928 brought an end to nearly 4 decades of chaos and instability, and began the longest period of peace enjoyed by some parts of China since the Xinhai Revolution in 1911. The Wu Paifun, his northern Zhili clique, accepted the return of the Qing dynasty. Further German concessions were refused, leading to a cooling of relations. Germany continues to maintain support for the Qing government, but mainly with the aims of ensuring consistent competition with the also supported southern Zhili, as part of a larger divide and conquer strategy in China as a whole, as well in the hopes of gradually building a Chinese bulwark against Japan. Though the specter of Chinese domination looms across much of northern and eastern China, the country is nonetheless far more divided than most in Beijing would prefer, and China finds its authority contested on all sides, from the defiant Fengtian government in the northeast, these guys, to the various ostensible allies across the remainder of China. Nominal components of the empire granted near total autonomy by the grace of geography and regional sentiment. As old Qing enters 1936, largely contained to the North China Plain, and at the head of a faltering national order. Long live the Emperor! Now we have a lot of reading to do off top. Okay, 1936 finds a powerless assembly on the brink. 5 groups dominate the body. Although they have no power in the chamber, the groups that support them are not to be trifled with. The most powerful of these is the Harmony Association, nominally led by President Cao Kun, a depressed alcoholic. True in power, the group lies with Wu Peifu, who founded the association as a legitimizing movement to ensure Zhili representation in the assembly. While nominally an independent political party, the Harmony Association's deputies are all former Zhili officers, and following Cao Kun's legally dubious re-election, few believe the group is anything more than a front for Wu to control the country. Prosperity League occupies a similar position. While it claims to be a political party, few see it as any more than a lobbying group for German interest in Beijing. This leaves the three parties in the opposition. The Zongji Party, comprised of Qing princes and former hangers, the Young China Party, a clique of young officers at the Baodong Academy, styling themselves after the Young Turk Party, oh no, and the New Chinese Empire Reformation Association, a fusion of two reform groups that, while loyal to the emperor, favor a structural reorganization of China back to the traditional model of the rural village, and the end to warlord cliques. While these three groups are in opposition to Wu, he allows them seats in the Palace Assembly as a way to legitimize his unpopular regime. Interesting. And for the last few years, Wu and Cao have spent most of their political capital attempting to restructure and reduce the enormous debt of the Qing Empire. While theoretically possible, this plan has run into numerous challenges, the chief being a lack of support from the provincial governors. Rumors of instability in the south have further complicated these plans, and Cao Kun is expected to deliver a speech on reducing the national debt to the assembly after New Year celebrations later this month. We shall await his speech. Emphasis on await, it seems. So we're led by Asian Gyoro Puyi, the puppet emperor. His imperial majesty, the son of heaven, the Zhuangtong emperor. While Puyi has many titles, the young emperor has little power and has never really possessed any since his birth in 1906. Deposed in the Xinhai Revolution at the age of 5, he was turned to the throne as a condition of the German intervention in China, a move detested by the general population. With day-to-day governance largely handled by the civil government in Beijing, he has spent the last decade idly sitting in the Forbidden City, occupying his days with tennis matches and calligraphy. But the Zhuangtong Emperor may secretly harbor ambitions to restore China and his dynasty to the greatness they enjoyed centuries ago. We're led by the Harmony Association, the Othdems. The Harmony Association is a collection of Zhili bureaucrats, governors, and hangers-on that represent Wu Paifu and Cao Kun's attempt to present a facade of democratic legitimacy in the Beijing Assembly. Officially, they are a separate political party, completely divested from the military. Unofficially, however, most realize that the HA's sham democracy is little more than a half-hearted attempt to cover the endemic corruption, inefficiency, and waste of the Zhili bureaucracy. There we go. Well, we start with unequal treaties, which is interesting, actually. Volunteer only, which leaves us with plenty of manpower, so not worry too much. And his villain economy. We're led by Wu Paifu and Cao Kun. Paifu is okay, but some supply consumption is kind of meh, but Cao Kun just kind of sucks, doesn't he? Let's check out our stuff. We have a fractured empire. The Qing Empire theoretically controls all of China outside of Manchuria, Tibet, and Mongolia. In reality, the emperor's power barely extends outside the walls of Forbidden City, while President Cao Kun is largely powerless beyond the assembly floor. Wu Paifu, the real power behind the throne, is more interested in consolidating his power base in Luoyang and balancing military cliques against each other than improving his country in any meaningful way. From there, we have overwhelming national debt. Jesus. China's struggle to develop its national economy has resulted in enormous trade debt fronted by the Beijing government. Industrial machinery is imported at a staggering cost, and what little domestic manufacturing does exist lacks the quality and quantity to compete on the world market. China's main export are thus mostly agricultural, and even cash crops fetch low prices compared to the widely imported foreign luxuries like cigarettes and radios. This problem is only exacerbated by the widespread institutionalized corruption and a thriving opium trade. From there, we have a Zhili leadership crisis. The advanced age of many senior Zhili commanders is a worrying trend that must be rectified soon, lest our country be entirely controlled by old men. America in 2023? Sorry, political commentary. Warlord era inadequacies. In spite of various claims, there has never really been a Chinese army. Instead, the military is decentralized, highly factional, and irregular. Having grown haphazardly over decades of conflict, most significant forces are regional, oversized, poorly maintained, and distrustful of one another, if not outright hostile. Corruption is endemic. Where logistics exist, most are simple coolie or mule trains complemented by regular robbery of the surrounding countryside. Though a few units appear to meet Western standards, the vast majority do not, and better resemble gangs of bandits and other criminals. Even in peacetime, mere word of an approaching army is often enough for local peasants to flee the oncoming wave of looting and abuse. And then finally, the Peking Commission influence holes. The Peking Commission is Germany's primary agent for exerting control over areas directly controlled by Beijing. They directly fund the Prosperity League, a lobbying group that pushes for adoption of German industrial methods and free trade while also holding several seats in the assembly. Key modifier is tied to the popularity of the Liberal Market Party. Or the Market Liberal Party. Interesting. Very cool. She currently has no active balance of power. Now let's go ahead and we need research. We don't even have a new generation of guns. Jeez. We'll start with a mostly typical start, I think. And then only really developed out. Well, we have Jingzhao's developed. We'll build a civilian factory there, and then we'll do one in here. Kaifeng. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. We'll do it in Kaifeng. Then here. Well, how many troops do we have outright? Okay. We have a decent amount. I'm actually proud of that. I like that. We'll split them into two, I guess. Well, Field Marshal. We gotta give it to our homie Wu Pai Fu over here. And then generals, we'll do... What do we want to do? We'll do Liu Mengjiang. And then we'll go with Wang Chengbin. Before I continue further, obligatory, I don't speak Chinese. Any dialect of it. I barely speak English, so I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these pronunciations. So I apologize ahead of time. Forgive me. And bear with me. So we have a basic little focus, it seems. So we have placate the assembly, new elections, dealing with the unrest, then either the Manchu Restoration or a new constitution. Interesting. Because we don't really have much in the way of, you know, industry to start with. So we got to figure out a way to do it. We got some interesting options. Interesting indeed. Alright, well, let's go ahead. We should probably just start with some focuses. We'll do the Year of the Rat. As the nation prepares to begin celebrating Chinese New Year on January 24th, Assembly President Cao Kun and Wu Pai Fu have begun drafting a speech to mark the fourth year of concerted anti-trade debt efforts. The largest issue currently facing the central government, the Zhili Clique, hopes to tackle this problem even as whispers of unrest emerge from the League of Eight Provinces. There we go. Continue on. Do we have any... Well, we have Chinese unification, of course. Army reform. Right. Chinese armies have long struggled to catch up to Western standards. Soldiers are notoriously poorly trained and disorderly, often recruited from a varied stock of bandits, petty criminals, and the chronically destitute. Equipment is regularly patchwork, obsolete, or even downright archaic. Loyalty is typically given to individual officers or a regularly filled rice bowl. And ideological motivation is ephemeral at best. It would take a great deal to rebuild these armies along modern lines. Fair enough. Then from here we have managing German influence. Following the restoration of Puyi, German companies have held disproportionate influence in our country. German lobbyists, consultants, and hucksters arrive daily to try and make their fortune in China. While financial support from Germany is a welcome help, reform groups despise continued European dominance over our internal affairs. We have a variety of ways of suppressing German influence at our disposal, though they can be costly. Conversely, we can entice German financial support, though this is certain to grow German influence. Yeah, we have... The political power is Okay, but we don't seem to have much yet. A lot of this is depending on army experience, it seems. So, can't even do much on that. Kerensky dying? What? Legation cities, officially known as the International Mandate for the Chinese Concessions, were formed in 1928 after the Jade Wind incident, when a European passenger train was attacked by Kuomintang bandits. Mostly designed to halt the Zhili-Fengtian conflict that was destabilizing the Far East, the Americans had also intended to serve as a tool of their open door policy, allowing access to Chinese markets to all Western nations and Japan. Pursuant to these imperialist aims, the Beijing government has been cut out of all decision-making processes on the Legation Council, despite nominally leasing their territory from us. We have observer status on the council and are able to get a view into the decisions being taken in their meetings, but beyond that, our interactions with the body are limited at the governmental level. We deserve a voice in Shanghai. Are we going to get it? Probably not, but we deserve one. Oh, I notice now that, I don't know if I always noticed, but yeah, German East Asia owns these two little provinces now. Cool. Alright. In a long, somewhat rambling speech to mark the Chinese New Year, Assembly President Cao Kun addressed the need to restore the glory of the Qing Empire, unite the country, and repay the debts burdening the economy. He laid out a three-point plan. Government subsidies and tax cuts would be given to light manufacturing industries, farmers would be granted tax cuts to grow edible plant synthetic crops, and increased tax on provincial governors. The speech is met with polite applause. Although the Aufsichtsrat der Ostasiatischen Generalverwaltung has been riding high with their recent success in building railways in our nation's south, their fortunes to the north have not been so kind. Their subsidiaries in the Peking Syndicate have been working for months on an arrangement with the obstinate Governor Yan Jingxiang of Jiangxi, with our representatives serving as an intermediary, although they had made considerable inroads in winning over high-level members of the administration such as Wang Jiang, the general manager of Shaanxi's provincial rank. Ultimately, the talks grounded to halt. Yan, egged on by the traitors Marshal Fen Yujiang, elected to walk out of negotiations, refusing to budge on our demands that the planned AOG-built rail lines, which we are funding, mind you, utilize a standard gauge rather than the narrow ones Yan specified. He accused us of trying to undermine his autonomy and scheming to make an ultimate invasion easier for our forces. Outright accusations aside, the collapse of these talks highlights the economic isolation of Shaanxi since the start of the century. Once out of China's wealthiest province, one of China's wealthiest provinces, and hosting the heart of China's banking commercial centers, changing circumstances of the start of the warlord era plunge it into deep poverty. The region remained nominally in line with our government, with Wu Peifu unable to fully oust Yan or Fang towards the end of the 1920s. Delusions of grandeur aside, they are not much of a threat, though perhaps as a testament to the lingering tensions our forces continue to occupy the eastern portions of the province, leaving its governing status ambiguous. Beggars really ought not to be choosers. Well, what are you going to do? The past few weeks have seen a great deal of economic activity in the League of Eight provinces, the southern conglomerate of provinces ruled by our nominal subordinate Sun Qiongfang. Even more heavily influenced by our German economic support than we are, the League just finished construction on a major railroad, the Zhejiang Line. Though funded by the Germans, it was largely built by Chinese labor, leading to many to hope for a more equitable relationship between the Germans and Chinese in the League, at least in economic affairs. A few days ago, in a surprising move, the AOG publicly announced its plans to purchase and to consolidate a number of eastern railways on behalf of their subsidiary group, the Shandong Eisenbahngesellschaft, including this new Zhejiang route. This move angered many native Chinese residents of the League, who saw the Zhejiang Line as a potential building block in an equal relationship between Europeans and Asians. Widespread protests have broken out, inflamed by conspiracies of fraud and embezzlement on part of the Sun's cronies. We need to keep an eye on this. Well, let's encourage export farming. We don't have the industrial base required to enact large-scale industrial reforms. What we do not lack, however, is a large number of peasant farmers. By carefully granting out subsidies to farmers, we can start to nurture a food export system that can alleviate our trade debt. Now that works for me. Shaanxi region has always been a good source of coal and useful metals for the empire. Following the Fourth Zhili Fengtiang War, we gained direct control of eastern Shaanxi, a slim area of land that used to belong to Yan Zhejiang's Zhili Clique. Our ownership of eastern Shaanxi has been the cause of tensions between us and the Zhili Clique. But for now, they are unable to compete with our military strength. Much like the rest of Shaanxi, this area is rich with coal and iron. Multiple German companies took an interest in eastern Shaanxi, so purchased the coal and iron mines there. These mines sit very close to the border with the Zhili Clique, but this has not yet been a problem. However, news just came in that these eastern Shaanxi companies are going to increase their mining operations, and have presented their plans that show some of their mines falling into Shaanxi-controlled territory. We personally do not need to worry about this, but it's likely to cause some problems in the Zhili Clique, with many peasants feeling robbed that these German companies are taking their mines. We wish them good luck with their business ventures. This won't blow up at all. Yeah, Shaanxi does not seem happy with us, actually. Go figure. Well, following the unrest following the Zhejiang Railroad, a number of German investors and businessmen have sadly been attacked by rabid anti-foreign mobs. To make it matters worse, widespread boycotts of German goods have begun in the south, and this morning, reports reached Beijing of bombings of railway stations in Hangzhou and other cities on the Central China lines. Central China Railway. Transportation has ground to a halt in many regions of the League, and KMT guerrillas have used this opportunity to stage increasingly daring attacks on isolated League garrisons. The German ambassador is demanding accountability, and while the League is largely autonomous from our control, we still need to do something. Jiang Baili and other Zhili officials have long pushed to exert greater control over the League and are urging Wu to use this crisis to leverage greater control over the South. Wu is personally uncertain of this, but is currently drafting a telegram to demand accountability from Sun and offer our help should he need it. Unsaid, of course, is the demand for increased control over League affairs should he accept our help. Let's see what Sun has to say. Oh, well, troubling information reached Luoyang in Beijing this morning. While reports are somewhat contradictory, it appears that some sort of massacre of peaceful protesters by League and German troops in the city of Wuhu. Some claim German troops simply mowed down the protesters, while others claim a group of KMT radicals attacked the Germans and League troops first. Whatever the cause, the city has fallen into anarchy, and protests have sprung up all over the League. Ironically, at the same time as we received this information, we received a report from Sun, claiming he has the situation under control. Some Zhili generals are pushing for a major intervention in the south should the situation deteriorate further, but Wu has yet to take a clear position on the issue. Further exasperating our problems, an informant we have placed within the NCERA claims they have somehow received information on the situation and are planning to give a scathing speech later in the assembly today. HA officials are also attempting to rouse Calhoun from a drunken stupor and read a counter speech, but we've been caught off guard. Under control my ass. Well, here we go with new taxes. Tax collection in the warlord era ranged from semi-organized to completely ad hoc. Even though most people will present new taxes, enacting them through an established legislative body will hopefully mitigate some of the unpopularity, as a taxman is better than a horde of rapacious soldiers. The province of Anhui, long chafing under Sun's rule, essentially declared independence from the League this week. In a widely disputed pamphlet, Governor Cheng Tio-yong claimed the Wuhu incident shows that Sun cannot manage the crisis and essentially abrogates him from any responsibility in Anhui. Some Zhili generals have unilaterally begun to mobilize their troops against KMT incursions, though Wu rightfully suspected that their true intention is territorial expansion. Seeking to undercut their opportunity to invade, he declared a national state of readiness this morning to all Zhili and Manchu generals, urging them to ready their troops for any possible armed conflict. Confused Zhili troops have largely fallen into line with Wu, and any premature attack south was effectively ended before it began. Let's hope this keeps them in line. Let's hope this is the end of conflict in China. I'm going to leave it there, friends, but thank you as always for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this series or my content in general, hit the sub button. even hit the notification bell. I upload weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays. If you have any comments, feedback, can certainly leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any feedback you may have for me. Check my various links down in the description box below. I have a Twitch, a Discord, a second channel, and a Patreon. You're free to check all those out at your own leisure. Thanks always for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.